The chronometer on the wall pulsed its soft blue glow, marking the 15th rotation past the scheduled start time. Lyra's classroom remained empty of its most important occupant, the human, herself. Rin's tail twitched with barely contained anxiety as he surveyed the cluster of younger cubs gathered around their teacher's desk. At 7 solar cycles, he was the eldest, and responsibility weighed heavy on his narrow shoulders. The others, Mika with her silver-tipped ears, little Faust who still struggled with basic galactic, and the twins Ven and Kess all looked to him for guidance. "She's never been late before," Mika whispered, her voice carrying the tremor that came before tears. "Do you think something happened?" Rin wanted to reassure her, but humans were strange creatures. Unpredictable, dangerous according to the council broadcasts his parents watched. Yet Teacher Lyra had never been anything but gentle with them, patient when Faust mispronounced words, encouraging when Ven's confidence faltered during mathematics. "She'll come," Rin said, trying to sound certain. Humans always keep their promises. The cubs had pressed closer to her desk, drawn to it like moths to luminescence. It was a curious thing, Lyra's workspace, covered in artifacts from her homeworld. A small blue sphere that she called Earth sat in a transparent case. Photographs of alien landscapes with impossible blue skies and green vegetation lined the edges. And books. Real, physical books made from pressed plant matter, an extravagance beyond imagination in a galaxy that had gone digital millennia ago. Faust's small paw reached toward one of the books, then withdrew. "Are we allowed to touch?" Before Rin could answer, the door hissed open. But it wasn't Lyra. Director Kalth strode in, his chitinous plates gleaming under the classroom lights. His compound eyes swept over the gathered cubs with disapproval. "Students, return to your designated seating areas. Your human teacher will not be continuing her employment at this institution." The words hit like a physical blow. Mika's ears flattened against her skull. The twins clutched each other. Faust made a small, wounded sound. "Why?" Rin heard himself ask, though speaking directly to the director was forbidden for cubs. Kalth's mandibles clicked with irritation. "The human has been deemed unsuitable. The Galactic Council has issued new protocols regarding human instructors. They are too unpredictable, too violent by nature. We cannot risk Teacher Lyra isn't violent." The words burst from Rin before he could stop them. "She's kind. She stays late to help us. She brought us treats from her homeworld. She—" "Silence, cub." Kalth's voice dropped to a dangerous frequency. "You know nothing of humans. They are a warlike species. Only 3 centuries since they discovered faster-than-light travel, and already they've been involved in 17 separate military conflicts. They are aggressive, territorial, and here." Every head turned. Lyra stood in the doorway, breathing hard as if she'd been running. Her dark hair had escaped its usual neat arrangement, wild strands framing her face. There was a tear in her uniform sleeve, and something that looked like purple synthetic blood splattered across her shoulder. "Teacher Lyra." The cubs surged toward her, but Kalth moved to block their path. "You were instructed to report to administration," he hissed. "Your presence here is—" "5 minutes," Lyra interrupted, meeting his gaze with that peculiar human intensity that made even adult galactics uncomfortable. "Give me 5 minutes to say goodbye to my students." "Impossible. Security has been notified. Then they can wait 5 minutes." Lyra's voice carried an edge now, something that reminded Rin of the history lessons about human military campaigns. But when she looked at the cubs, her expression softened completely. "Please." Perhaps it was that last word spoken with such gentleness that made Kalth's resolve waver, or perhaps it was the way the cubs had moved to stand between him and their teacher, small bodies forming a protective barrier despite their fear. 5 minutes, he conceded, stepping aside. "Then security will escort you off station." The moment he left, the cubs crashed into Lyra like a wave. She dropped to her knees, gathering them close, and Rin saw moisture leaking from her eyes, that strange human response to emotion that still puzzled him. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "I tried to fight it. I was in administration all morning arguing, but the council's decision is final." "Why do they say humans are dangerous?" Rin asked, even as he burrowed closer to her warmth. "You've never heard us." Lyra's laugh was wet, broken. "Because we are dangerous, little one. Not to you, never to you, but humans. We don't back down when someone we love is threatened. We fight for what we believe in. We're stubborn and fierce, and we don't always follow the rules. She pulled back, looking at each of their faces as if memorizing them. There was an accident in the lower levels today. A coolant leak in the nursery wing. The evacuation protocols failed and there were cubs trapped inside. Mika gasped. But those are for babies. 3 cycle-olds? I know. Lyra's jaw tightened. The council said to wait for proper safety equipment. That it was too dangerous. That the radiation levels were too high. She touched the torn sleeve, the purple stain. I didn't wait. Understanding crashed over Rin like cold water. You went in. I went in, Lyra confirmed. Got all 12 of them out before the section sealed. But I broke protocol, disobeyed a direct order from the council, and it gave them the excuse they needed to enforce their new human restrictions. But you saved them, Faust's voice cracked with indignation. Yes, and I'd do it again. Lyra stood straightening her torn uniform with as much dignity as she could muster. Listen to me, all of you. What the council says about humans being violent, aggressive, dangerous, some of it is true. We are fighters. We are warriors. But we fight for people, not against them. We fight for those who can't fight for themselves. She moved to her desk, gathering her books and photographs with careful hands. Promise me something. Promise me you'll remember that being dangerous isn't the same as being evil. That violence in defense of the innocent isn't the same as violence for its own sake. Her voice caught. That humans love fiercely, and that's what makes us scary to people like the council. The door hissed open again. Security had arrived. 3 large enforcer-class guards in full tactical gear. Rin stepped forward, his small voice surprisingly steady. Teacher Lyra, when we're older, when we have a say in the council, we'll vote to bring humans back. I promise. Lyra's smile was radiant despite her tears. I know you will, Rin. I believe in all of you. As the guards led her away, the cubs remained clustered at her desk, surrounded by the artifacts of a world they'd never seen but had learned to love through stories. On the desk, Lyra had left one item behind, a book, its cover showing a blue planet floating in darkness. Rin picked it up, reading the title aloud, Earth, A History of Humanity's Greatest Defenders. The cubs gathered closer, and together they began to read. Outside, the station continued its rotation through the void, but inside classroom C-47 something had changed. Seeds had been planted in young hearts, seeds of understanding, of respect, of the knowledge that the most dangerous beings in the galaxy were often the ones most worth believing in. And somewhere in the lower levels, 12 very young cubs were alive because one human had refused to wait for permission to be a hero.